Africa's population is growing and the capacity to feed its people is compromised. Climate change too is taking a toll on the continent's food baskets.
I see the biggest impact of drought to our economies, to our continent, as reversing not just the fact that we are having no food when we need food, that people have famine, but for me, from a technology perspective, I mean, it actually is a huge drain on the resources, on the capital base that we have already created. Because farmers that are used to when it should rain are getting different signals from the environment. They plant, they lose their capital base.
Drought across sub-Saharan Africa has left many families helpless, and experts are advising that fresh strategies are needed to replace traditional agriculture practices to match new challenges.
Everybody who is in the agricultural sector cannot afford not to talk about resilience because the climate has changed on us. So we have to think about Plan B. We have to think about the kind of things we need to be worrying about to rebuild the agricultural knowledge that will take us into the future based on the climate change we are living with.
During the African Union Assembly in July 2003 in Maputo, African heads of state and government committed to allocate 10% of their national budgets to agriculture, but many countries are yet to honor this pledge. Uganda has allocated 3.5% of its 2017-2018 budget to agriculture, and technocrats say this is also affecting private sector investment.
We have noted that in previous versions of the national investment plans, the private sector is mentioned as important, but there is no focused effort on really mobilizing the private sector to do the right things for them to invest.
The agricultural experts are meeting in Uganda under the Comprehensive Africa Agriculture Development Program. It is an African Union initiative that was put in place to carry out extensive research and advise governments on how to develop agriculture. Many African economies, like Uganda, are heavily dependent on agriculture. But despite the sector's significance, experts argue that it has not received sufficient investment to significantly transform economies and independently feed the continent's growing population. Baleke, CGTN, Kampala, Uganda.